You hit that though. He said, me and Max in the cut. We don't give two shits and we don't give a fuck.
It's what we do. Ain't shit to prove. We living life to the max.
Living life to the max.
To the max.
Just like my podcast.
All right. South Elgin High School gang at the table, I guess. Was that me?
What the fuck was that? That was the weather. It sounded like a weather app.
Oh shit, it was an airdrop from Hannah.
Oh my god. Right during the podcast. Way to go, Hannah.
What the
You were not the podcast with my ass. I'm closing the door.
All right. Sneak peek into the reality of life to the max. His nurses harass him.
Jesus.
His nurses walk all over him. They just take advantage of the handicapped man. I won't stand for it.
We're not gonna take it. I just got here and what I've seen is fucking ridiculous.
We got Nick Johnson on our side today, fellas. Welcome back to another episode of Life to the Max. And we got Max's childhood friend back at the table, and we're gonna dive right into Nick's interview right after the intro.
Yeah, I'm a veteran. I'm disabled. Paralyzed from the neck down, breathing through a machine, but that doesn't stop me from following my dreams and doing what I love to do. I don't got any excuse, and neither should you. Let's get into my buddy Nick Johnson's episode.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah, man.
We established just a few minutes ago that it has been 16 years since you and I have seen each other.
I believe so, yeah, 16 years.
Give or take a year, right?
Maybe like 13. Yeah.
13?
16 years.
No, like, yeah, dude, because like high school was 10 years ago, that was 14. I didn't.
Senior year.
I didn't see you senior year.
We did, actually. We had autos together.
Did we really?
With a bunch of freshmen.
What was your last
10 years.
memory of Max? Tell a story about Max when he was
All right. Yeah, the last memory would have been in autos class because you and I were the two seniors. And the rest
I
of
was swole as fuck too. Like, I got strong, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like that was when I went to Lake Park. And
Yo, Nick needs to tell the goddamn story, Max. Chill the fuck out.
It's not much of a story. We just had autos, and it was a couple of dumb seniors. And
He's like, yeah, I was jacked, right? Yeah, and I had two bitches around me, right? And they would sit in the front seat while I work under the hood in the autos class, right?
I'm like, damn right, absolutely.
That's what happened.
Yeah, and I was back there studying. I was a good boy.
That was good.
Yeah. No, it was autos. We had autos together, and it was autos 1, 2, or whatever they called it. So it was all 1-1. It was all freshmen, and Max and I that are all right, what are we doing in here? Yeah, Mr. Butcher, I think.
Yeah. I do remember
Good
that.
guy. So that's my last memory was hanging out in that class for that first semester.
I mean, I was always late though. I was always late.
And that man didn't give a shit about you and I. He didn't give a shit about us.
No, he didn't. Like,
No.
it's because we were seniors. He was like, all right, whatever. This is a fuck off class. Anyway.
Yeah, we were on the way out.
Yeah.
And I actually remember, in front of Mr. Butcher, we were out in the shop, and he had the whole class out there. He had everybody lined up, and he was trying to explain something. And one of the freshmen was standing in front of you and I, just fucking talking. And I finally fucking shut the fuck up when he's talking, man. Have some respect for this man, you know? And I remember you and I giggling about that after that, just because Mr. Butcher kind of gave me this look like, all right, carry on, you know?
Yeah. The teacher didn't say shit.
No, he didn't.
We literally just shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure the teacher wants to say shut the fuck up, but he can't say shut the fuck up. So if a senior is saying it for him, he's going to be like,
They're right.
I mean, that guy was awesome. I mean, he would let you bring your car into the garage and literally do anything. Like, literally do anything. It was
that's
crazy.
what class is for, right?
No, like after
own
school
car.
and shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like biology, though. You bring your body in there. It's kind of like that.
I was in anatomy, and I did like a fetus pig. That's the closest I've gotten to dissecting like that. I don't know about a human body.
When I was in biology in college, bro, like we were learning under microscopes and shit, and they're like, yeah, you can bring anything to look under the microscopes, and I wish I nutted on that petri. I wish I could see my little guy swimming. I should have done it. I didn't have the courage to do it. but I really should have done it.
Right.
Only
You weren't. I don't think you weren't living life to the max.
I was not living life to the max.
No. You would have fucking sent it.
I should have said, "Hey, I got this." What is that? Nothing.
Is it not lotions?
Loogie.
No, but a good memory, a really funny memory actually, with me, and it was when I first moved from Elgin to South Elgin. Nick was like right down the street from me, literally like 3 houses away from me, and we were on the bus together. And we were pretty cool together, you know. And then one day, I guess we got angry with each other. Was it over football or something? I can't remember.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Well, one day it was like a sequence of fights. All right, me, I don't throw hands. Okay, I sit on people when I was in 5th grade. All right, that was my defense mechanism. Yeah, and
Effective.
yeah,
Defense mechanism.
it worked very well. The next day, Nick.
The next day, obviously, I wasn't happy from getting sit on and basically, you know, having to tell him I gave up right as soon as we get off the bus. So, God, dude, this is so long ago. We got off the bus. I don't remember any of the lead up. I just remember bopping you once in the face and breaking your glasses.
Fucking decked me.
Nice.
Like as soon as we got off, just like the day before, right? As soon as we got off the bus, it was it's fucking on. Yeah.
Straight decked me.
Did he swing back?
Yeah. No, I think that was it, man. I don't remember it being a real fight.
No.
Turned around and cried on the way home.
I think he collected his glasses and
I
fucking see you tomorrow, motherfucker.
All right, I deserved it.
Yeah, I remember. I taped them. I think I taped them.
I do remember that because I remember everybody kind of come up to me and half of them were like, "Nice, you fucking hit him in the face." You know, it's 5th grade. Wow. And the other half, like the girls and shit, are like, "You're a dick."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You didn't see what happened the day before."
Dude, Nick, and you know this too. Don't fucking be modest. This kid would have girls running. He would have to run away from girls at recess, literally at Willard, like in elementary
That's
school.
funny.
It was
You're the
crazy.
dude. Everyone
It
was
was
crushing on
fucking
you.
crazy. Yeah.
No, I disagree with that. I was
What?
friends with Brittany.
Sarah
Silikowski.
Silikowski.
Her,
she was hot.
Brianna Brewer.
Yeah.
So the two of them and me were like real close, and we would play tag and shit at recess a lot. Like I hung out with them primarily. So
Dude, I
different
remember,
perspectives. He saw it like I was.
I remember a vivid fucking memory of like every girl in our class running after you.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Let me give you your flowers, bro.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate
You know what I mean?
Thanks.
Yeah, but that's what happened, and then we went our separate ways. You know, you played baseball, right? And then you got into like BMXing and all that stuff.
I did, yeah. I played baseball, most of my childhood, and then my last year of baseball was freshman year of high school. I actually played for the high school team, but I'd been playing travel ball before that.
Yeah, you were good.
I was a pitcher,
Yeah.
and I was for my age, I was a pretty damn good pitcher. I remember it didn't feel like I was at the time, but thinking back on how my games went and the comments I remember from umpires and other coaches and
Talking about high school?
even before high
high
school,
school.
like 12 to 15, basically those 3 or 4 years. Of
What'd you
playing
pitch, like fastball?
like what kind of pitches or how fast?
No, how fast did you pitch fastball?
I don't remember exactly. I think towards the end before I quit, I didn't have that hard of a throw. I threw a really good breaking ball, and I was really accurate. Which when you're playing baseball against 13-year-olds, a couple good accurate pitches is all you need. You don't have to throw it real hard. But I was probably mid-70s back then.
Wait, mid-70s?
I think maybe that's crazy. I don't know. I think I was.
That's
I remember.
fucking
I remember
crazy.
throwing over 70, like a little bit before I quit.
And why'd you quit?
Well, I had a combination of I had already started riding bikes, and it felt like everything else in my life was getting in the way of doing that.
Did you
Right.
skate or before, or did you ride bikes?
A little bit. Do you remember Ben Romano?
Of course.
Yeah. So him and I started riding together, and we actually, I think him and I skated when we were probably around the time you moved in by me, 4th grade or whatever. And I don't know, I just fucking sucked at it, and I couldn't go as high as I wanted. Like, there was something more I wanted out of the skate park experience than just, eating shit, going 2 miles an hour because of rocks. So him and I started riding, and that's just really where it took off.
You guys owned Sperry, and then Crazy Dave. Do you remember Crazy Dave, the guy with the
rollerblader? Yes, of course I do.
He was insane.
Do you remember Kevin? There was Crazy Dave, and then there was Kevin. Kevin was a little short blonde dude.
No, I don't.
He also would do backflips and shit.
No.
Okay, so Kevin was just like Dave, older than us and really good at rollerblading. Kevin actually was coming to the St. Charles Park that we were going to when we got older. He was coming there for years, so it was cool to have that little connection with Sperry.
Dude, I was so jealous of Crazy Dave and how he could just literally just do a run at Sperry and like balance on the fence. Not like he would balance on the fence and then go straight down the half pipe, like it's nothing. You know what I mean?
He was crazy.
That's why he was Crazy Dave.
He was Crazy Dave. Yeah, and that's funny. What a nickname. I don't remember calling him Crazy Dave.
Yeah, I think I called him Crazy.
Was it just you?
Yeah, it's probably me. Yeah,
because I did.
So so you got into BMXing like when? Is this with
2000?
Brandon Warren? Is this when? Did just Brandon Warren BMX?
No, he never did. It was really when Ben and I started hanging out, and I want to say it was the summer between 6th and 7th grade, which should have been somewhere around 2008, 9.
Is that when you had your first fight at Kenny Woods?
Oh, in 8th grade? Yeah.
We'll remain that guy nameless.
Yeah, we'll keep that nameless. But that's really the only full-on fight that I've ever been.
Why'd you fight him?
MySpace comments.
MySpace?
Yeah, of course, man. You're being 14, like
that's
talking
funny.
up shit on MySpace. Somebody's
at least you walked the walk. You didn't just sit there with. You put your money where your mouth is. That's what I like to hear. You know what I mean? But so you got into BMXing, right? And you started feeling a groove when. Like, when did you start, knowing that, I'm getting pretty good at this?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to obviously staple it down, but I was really lucky to have, the skate park that I was able to go to. So there was a skate park in St. Charles called Circus. It was actually called Circus, ironically. And so I started going there, bugging my parents, at least once a week to take me there. And this was around the time where I had my last year of baseball. So I had to reconcile that with my parents as far as, hey, listen, I know I'm good at baseball and you guys think I'm going to be able to go to college and all this wonderful shit and all these wonderful opportunities, but I'm just not feeling it anymore. The last year I had, I wasn't into it. So, being able to go to that skate park was big ass ramps, and going there, I was just lucky enough to make friends with all the guys that were able to touch the goddamn ceiling, and being super young, you go in there, it's super intimidating. Just like anybody going to skate parks, you take a kid to a skate park, they're going to be intimidated. They don't understand the etiquette. It's the noises are loud and scary, and but at some point, in that 14, 15, 16-year-old range, the park style of riding and jumping as high as I can, I just got addicted to that. I really wanted that. I don't really care what tricks I learn. I want to learn tricks. But whatever I do, I want it as high as I can go.
Dude, so you were in the air. Like, all your pictures were in the air. It was crazy. It was insane. I was like, this dude's going to fucking get paralyzed. Like, honestly. It's literally, like, you're doing all this crazy. And then you got, these shots on Facebook of you, doing it. And then, probably girls drooling all over you and shit, whatever, how high school is. That's awesome. What was, so how did so you and Ben, right? You guys used to BMX a lot, right? So how did the circus get approached you, Ringling Brothers?
Yeah. So I had. We're gonna skip over. We can bounce around.
Absolutely.
So I'd actually done shows. it was a rider that called me, one of my buddies that puts on shows. His name is Backflip Billy. Shout out to Backflip Billy.
Crazy Dan, Backflip Billy.
Yeah, I have a Crazy Dan as well. But yeah, Backflip Billy. So I had done shows with him when I was, I think, 15. I don't think I had my license at that time, maybe 15 or 16, because he had his own show company. And so I went and did some weekends doing festivals in Wisconsin or whatever, just doing box jump shows. So what ended up happening was he had ended up getting the contract and was asked to find another rider. It's kind of how it worked. So my experiences with him when I was younger, just going to the skate park, and then obviously me working for him doing shows, I mean, he paid well, for being 15 years old. I was making $600 on the weekend, which is like, yeah, I'll skip Friday school to go do that. You kidding me? That's actual money. So I think I just handled myself well when I was younger, and I was respectful, and so I was his first thought. So he ended up calling me, and the funny part is, and we'll probably end up getting a little bit more into it a little bit here and there, but I really wasn't planning on doing it when he offered it. You know what I mean? Like when he called me to do it, I'm like, I want to go ride contests. That's really what that's where my head was going towards with BMX was I got to go get sponsored. I got to go ride contests. And if it kills me, it kills me. This is what I'm choosing to do. And I think I could do it. I think I could do it like all the other guys do. But I ended up knowing what turned out to be our boss in the circus. He was the main guy that was, in charge of hiring us and organizing all the logistics of getting a BMX act put together. I'd actually done shows with him previously already out in Vegas for Monster Jam. If you guys know what that is, obviously.
Explain it. Explain it to the people who don't know.
Monster Jam, the Monster Truck shows, right? So the same company that owns Ringling Brothers is Feld Entertainment. They own they own Monster Jam, as far as I know. Yeah, they own Monster Jam, and I think they own or operate AMAs, the Supercross events, I think. I could be wrong on that, but so through my friends, because I lived in California for a few months right after high school, a few of my friends out there obviously had show connections, and there was a lot of pros that were just in the house, coming in and out of the house. So there's a lot of opportunities to go and do shows, and so that arose, and so we ended up going and doing shows for 3 or 4 days, and it was the World Championship of Monster Jam out in Vegas. Basically a parking lot show, and we had motocross jumping over us. They had like a drift truck, like one of the monster drift trucks. There was street bike stunters.
You're talking super fast. Tell the people like a detailed
Yeah, man.
stunt.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, take it slow. Let the people dream of this shit.
Yeah, dream of it. Yeah. Well, I don't remember much from those shows. The shows are different. That's the interesting part. I guess people probably don't know that, about riding bikes. When guys are going out and they're doing shows, Nitro Circus has stepped it up. That's why Nitro Circus is as big as it is, because they're able to go out there and fall in front of the audience, and it's okay. That's kind of part of the show to really push the limit as far as what people are doing. But like you learn how to do backflip variation tricks. You learn how to do backflip no-handers. You learn how to do backflip bar spins and crazy Dan. Everybody's got their own bag of tricks that they do, and they all look different doing it. Everybody goes higher than other people, so it's a really subjective thing. But for the people that don't know, first off, this is one of those things I was talking about earlier. BMX is in the circus is not the motocross motorcycles in the ball. A lot of people thought that's what we did.
Yeah.
It's not. It was a box jump show basically. So we had 2 quarter pipes and a box jump. It was pretty much just all airing out quarters, doing tricks up there, and then doing tricks over the box. Taking it in stride, doing the shows in Vegas, and then all the other shows that we did. You want to push it as far as you can, obviously, because you want to have a good show. But obviously, you don't want to get broke off in front of these people. There's a lot of kids, so it's not stuff I was thinking about. But after the circus, now it's like, okay, those are things to think about. If I ever go and have my own company doing shows, you don't want a bunch of people getting bloody and getting hurt in front of kids, right? You're going to push them away from the sport a little bit, or their parents.
So you went to Vegas, and then that was like the defining factor, like to where you were like, okay, I'm gonna join the Ringling.
No, that was beforehand. So yeah, what had happened was I moved out to California right after high school. There's a house out there. It's not there anymore, and unfortunately burned down a couple years ago. But it was called Ben's Backyard, and it was a full skate park. The whole backyard was, and it was in Santa Ana, California. And several of my friends had moved there. Basically, this was a house that for the last 15 years or whatever, a lot of BMX riders had come and gone, stayed there periodically. It's kind of a hub for that Southern California BMX scene.
Right.
So I moved down there, did some shows, made friends with a couple guys that, I couldn't imagine I would ever meet, as a kid, just the pros and stuff like that. And then I came back because we had to graduate high school. So I actually skipped out on the second semester of senior year at my request to my counselor, which allowed me to move to California. So now what happened was I came back from California, and then, my whole plan was to go back, but I didn't have any money because I didn't have a job when I was out there. I was living off the land, which are the roommates.
Where were you staying? Like, were you just
I actually,
with the group?
I had an RV that was parked, a non-working RV that was parked in the driveway. That was my room. Yeah, and so I was there for a little over 3 months, and I was planning on getting a job, but I knew I had to come back to graduate, so it made it hard because I graduated.
So it made it hard.
And I was
Sounds
like,
exciting for an 18-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
It was
Like,
incredibly, man. It was
18 or 17.
I turned. Shit, that's a good question. I would have turned 18 in December, basically right before I left. I turned 18.
So he started as a minor,
yeah.
right? Dude, that's living life to the max as a kid, bro.
As a kid.
Yeah, I sent it out there, and obviously I wouldn't have even been able to move in there if my friends hadn't already moved there. Obviously, so I had that connection. Yeah, I mean the opportunities, man. And honestly, that's something that I definitely want to dig into at some point. Is just how grateful and how blessed I've felt from just being given opportunities like that, even if it is just my homies.
So you're on a dirt bike.
It's your talent.
Bicycle.
A bicycle.
Yes, and I didn't.
He's doing flips off bicycles.
Yeah, and I meant to prepare.
So you confused me because you said motocross. You say BMX, I think of a bicycle, and then you say motocross, and I think of a motorcycle.
Yeah, it was me saying it's not motorcycles.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because that was
That's crazy. He went from either college baseball, he's a badass, he could pitch 70 miles per hour when he's 10, or, do backflips on bicycles in front of fucking monster trucks and shit. He's living life to the max as a kid, bro. I'm 28. I just started living life to the max. What the
Jesus
fuck?
Christ.
Yeah. This was a long time ago, man. We're all getting old over here.
Dude, it's crazy that you like when I saw this shit on Facebook, it looked like you were like living a second life. What did your parents say?
My parents were actually the ones that convinced me to take the Circus contract because I still had it in my head that I wanted to go ride contests, and that was the route I had to take to make a career out of it, or be able to do this full time and not have to worry about bills and all this other shit in life that we have to worry about, So obviously, shout out to them because I don't think I would have taken that contract if. They didn't sit me down one day and go, "Hey, man, you've been stewing on this for 2 months. Like, what are you doing? You're 18 years old. They want to pay you pretty good money, and what do you go travel and do BMX shows? Like, go do that. If you don't like it, you can leave. Then you can go play your little game with contests and all that."
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are right. I should just take it, and I'm glad I did because it took zero time for me to be there and meet some people and go, "Holy shit, what the fuck did I just get myself into?"
What is it like, the circus? First day, what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. So I actually went down there before. So basically, I left.
Where's down there?
Florida. Yeah,
Florida.
Yeah, Palmetto, Florida. Palmetto area is where Feld has their headquarters for where they build their shows and all that good stuff. So, and I believe it's the second biggest building in the United States. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it's a massive, multi-unit warehouse that are all connected. So we actually went down there and we did a little show for them with I think it was Rob Nolly, and because all the executives who were making the show wanted to see in person what they were signing up for, and they wanted to meet us as well. So we actually went down there with all the guys that ended up signing on with it. Going back to the California thing, I came back and graduated, and I ended up I had to get a job. I couldn't afford to go back to California, and that was the summer where I was basically offered that contract, and I stewed on it, like I said, for a couple months while I was working and just kind of being a bum at home. I mean, we were working 60, Yeah, like 60-hour weeks, getting paid $10 an hour, $10.99. So yeah, it wasn't, we weren't really able to do anything else. But later that year, that was 2014. That's when I actually flew down there and we started building the show. So which is why it's creeping up on 10 years this year, which is crazy for me to think about.
2014.
Yeah.
So you're only 18 years old and you're going to join a circus.
Yeah, that I know nothing about. I remember seeing it when I was a kid, and I knew there was elephants, and I kind of got the spiel of it. When we did our little show, so I was like, okay, at least I know we're gonna have a box jump, right? Because there's a lot of times where you're asked to do shows, but it's just on the concrete or it's little tiny kicker ramps, and it's like, as a BMX guy that can jump high on bigger ramps, it's like, it's not, so it was really good. It kind of solidified it for me going down there, and then actually really seeing, meeting all these executives of that massive corporation, and having them show interest in not only us as riders and like what we can do, and just them wanting to learn a little bit more about it. With shows like that, they usually have strict rules on how people look, people's appearance, all that. And obviously we're all, tattoos. Crazy Dan had gauges that were about that big. Mm-hmm. And so we were a little like, we're going to have to wear makeup every damn show to cover our stuff. And they're like, that's the culture. That's your culture. It's the BMX culture. We want to keep that. You guys, which I really appreciated. And I know the other guys did as well, because it's important to us. This is what we look like. Nice, yeah. We should look like what we look like, right?
Yeah. And when you ain't got to be all corporate professional when you're doing flips on a bike.
Yeah, for real.
In a circus.
I got to put makeup on and do a backflip.
The dancer, there's a handful of dancers that were tatted up, and every day they either had sleeves or they had to put makeup on to cover it.
Tell us about a core memory you experienced in the circus, good or bad?
In the circus? Yeah, I've obviously, I have a handful of them. A good one was I won't name his title in the circus, but his name was David. He had recently gotten a Shiba Inu puppy, and he lived on the train, so he didn't want to leave the puppy on the train.
What's the trains?
The train is where most of the people lived. We can dig into that. The train's cool.
So
what is it?
It's a train. A literal train.
Non-moving train? So instead of trailers, you living in a train?
It moves though. We traveled the whole country. It was the longest privately owned train.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, tell us about the Shimu.
Yeah. Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu.
Little shithead of a puppy. It was adorable.
Dogecoin.
Yeah, I remember the dog's name too. Look at my memory. Harper. The dog's name was Harper. Yeah, so Harper was in David's dressing room, and we're doing our act one night, and right as soon as our act is about to end, we're waiting for two other riders to come in, because we ended our act with them coming in from backstage and doing flips, and that was how it ended. Instead of a rider coming out, there was a delay, and there was never a delay. Our shit was down, it was choreographed, and then Harper comes running up. And if my memory serves correctly, I think Harper tried to get up on the ramp. And we're talking in this arena, there's 5,000 people, and the spotlights are only on our ramp, and this fucking dog just comes running out just starts doing laps around the arena. Yeah, and so
unplanned, man.
And
he's performing.
Yeah,
he's like, it's my turn.
And so when Billy, it was Backflip Billy, when he came out for his front flip or whatever he was going to do, he kind of just came rolling in, laughing, and that was the end of our show. The fireworks went off, and that was the end of our act.
5,000 people thought that was the script,
right? Yeah. And we were the last act, so they had already seen the dog act, because there was a poodle act in there, and this was not a poodle; it was a Shiba Inu.
Yeah.
But that was one of the funny memories, because then for finale, for the next 4 or 5 minutes of the show, coming to a close, the rest of the performers come out. Everybody comes out onto the floor, song and dance. Show ends. Everybody's chasing Harper around trying to get him and get him back. So that was
how does the show go? I'm not asking you go straight down the wire, but is it riders and then the aerialists and then who are all the performers? And you said there's animals involved as well.
Yes.
Elephants.
Yeah, elephants, tigers. There were camels. There were a couple of horses that we had. There was a dog act. So a lot of animals. I was thinking about it on the way here. I could probably list off all of the acts, but the way that the show was set up, we had a pre-show That was about an hour before the show. That was everybody who showed up early. You're able to go down actually onto the floor and interact with all the performers, basically. So that was part of our job was, in rotations to go out there. And we had a little BMX act that we would do and, announce it. And I did that a few times. That was fun. It was more of a way to just be personable with the crowd. And it's cool that it's before the show, too, So it was pre-show. And then basically, our show was set up. A lot of it was act, musical interlude, because you have to transition a lot of the equipment. And these are all the details that I just had never even considered with this scale of a show. There's reasons for all that, obviously. You have tons of equipment, even just the animals moving in and out. You have to have time for them to transition in and out of wherever you're at. So that's kind of why most of the show was set up basically, an act, musical interlude of some kind. They had a whole narrative for the show as well. It was like a whole story about, going out and exploring the world and looking for the best act. That was like our ringmaster's narrative, it's because it's a show for kids. It doesn't seem like it is. I didn't realize it was. It really is. It was a show for kids. So, we were the last act though, like dead last. It was about a 2-hour show plus pre-show. So all in all, it was about 3 hours total. For the show. Yeah.
So 3 hours, and how many, do you go on tour? How many places do you go for a tour?
A lot. I actually asked my mom on the way here, because I was ill-prepared, to look up the schedule of it in 15 and 16 to see. I used to know the numbers. I want to say 18 or 20 states. Each year, like the first year, we probably went to 18 or 20 different states. The next year was a lot of duplicates, but in a lot of the states, we did 3 to 5 different cities in each state. Like we were in California the first year for 3 months straight.
What does it feel like to live out of a book bag? What does it feel like to live out of a suitcase?
Yeah, I had more than a book bag. I had my room on the train was. I was actually lucky because I got one of the bigger rooms on my car.
They gave the kid the big room.
It was. Well, I got to choose between 2 of them, and they were both decent rooms. So I don't know how we ended up with that. My boss probably hooked us up with that. Yeah. I don't know, but no, it was probably 10 by 10, 12 by 12, something like that. But I had a sink. I had burners, like for cooking. That really
on the train.
On the train.
Yeah, not many other people did in the public cars. There were larger cars that were private, meaning there wasn't a hallway, right? So what that means was when the train was moving, each car had a hallway that you could transition, and I could basically walk. I was in car 31, and Pie Car, which was the restaurant car, was 43. Mm-hmm. So that's how many train cars you'd have to walk from me to go all the way down to the restaurant car while it's moving.
There's a restaurant on this train?
It was a restaurant car, yeah. So let me set the stage a little bit more. Yeah. This is a community of people. There was around 300 total people that were part of this whole show. A fair amount of them had RVs. They were long-term circus families and acts, lifetime people. So they have their nice RVs that they've got and all that good stuff. We're talking 300 people that pick up and take everything to a different city every week.
Oh my God.
We had a priest, whatever you want to call him.
Wow.
So there was church, there was mass, basically.
A traveling society of people.
Yeah. We had a school teacher for all the kids.
No way.
Yeah, and I don't remember how many kids there were, but there was, I don't know, at least 15 kids.
What kind of Hollywood movie setup is this? Go on. This reminds me of that movie Snowpiercer.
Oh yeah, the train. Yeah.
Movie.
That's a great
Everyone followed
movie.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm not about to explain it, but
no, indeed, yeah, exactly. No, it's a traveling society basically, and so the Pie Car, we had a restaurant car on the train, which is nice. Movies are playing, and they had 2 different movies going on.
Was there a strip club on the train?
No strip club. Sometimes.
Was there
sometimes.
Was there a mini casino? There was gambling, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, I wasn't old enough at the time.
But was there?
No, there's nothing like that.
What about the girls? Were the girls? I know you're married, and I want to respect your marriage, but like let's act like you're not married for a second, just by the appearance of the girls, like the aerialists, like because I can't imagine a girl that can like basically bend like a pretzel. Like that's pretty fucking hot.
Yeah, let me. I guess the best way to put it would be, for the most part, everybody was in damn good shape. And most people that are in damn good shape
Are attractive.
are attractive. That's a good way to put it. Obviously, I was in a relationship the whole time I was in the circus, basically with somebody in the circus. I picked one pretty early on, like most people did. There was a lot of marriages.
So hold on, he's 18, young and driven, and he got a big room on the train, and he has a fit and flexible girlfriend traveling with him state to state. Bro, I'm surprised you didn't have kids when you were 19.
Yeah. That would have been something.
That's crazy, man.
I mean, you could put him in kindergarten while you're traveling the country. Like,
Yeah.
you got to school.
Yep.
The next train over.
It's literally like a society. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and so the pie car, the chefs that we had, we actually had a mobile pie car. So when we were set up in all the arenas, I mean, that's where we got most of our food. I think on the 3 show days, we all got meals for free, but you basically had to pay for it. It was super, super cheap food, but that's kind of how we ate.
Was it good though?
It was, it was pretty good. We had a handful of different chefs that were on there. Some of them nicer
That's
than other
wild.
ones, and but we're all. The funny part is it's not like.
And the train is moving.
I'm trying to think about how it was for you, maybe being in boot camp, where the guy that you get served your food from, like he's not your homie usually, right? Like he might be, but most of the time you probably don't know that guy, right?
No.
Exactly. So I'm like hanging out with the chefs, like because what do you do when you're not doing shows, especially on the train runs? Everybody lives on it. So what's everybody doing when you're not working? You're just wandering around, knocking on doors, seeing what everybody's doing.
Is the train moving like while you're like going to all these cars?
Yes. Yeah. So that the train traveled, state to state, city to city. And we called them train runs basically. So in most cities, our last show every week was on Sunday. And then there was a load in, which I never did it. It was optional to make a little bit of extra money and help with load in, load out. I never did it, so I would imagine that probably took 24 hours, something like that, for them to load in or get everything loaded out. Load the train up, and then they lock it up. And if you're not on there, it's a problem. So you got
What you gotta do? You gotta find a way to get to the next state.
Yeah, I mean, they would lock it up early, for obvious reasons. There were a lot of strict rules. So our trains were parked in train yards in every city, and sometimes train yards weren't busy. We were the only track, so it's not a big deal to be out wandering around. But a lot of the times we're in busy train yards where it's dangerous to be out wandering around, and they were very strict about that. So they would lock the train up before the train run, like at midnight on Sunday,
shit.
and then they would have to let people into it, basically, that were coming, bus loads of people from the loadout. And then you're locked into the train until you get to the next place, and then they come and actually unlock the doors and shit for you so you can get off.
Wow.
Which sounds like, prison or whatever, but that's actually the most liberating part about it. It was definitely my favorite part about the whole experience, was just we have 3 days of travel basically on this train, and there's nothing to do but drink some beers, cook some food, watch some movies, play some video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no responsibilities, and you have a half a mile of people that you can just walk up and down and see what they're up to. That was the best times were train run times.
That's
wild.
That sounds like that sounds like a
go
fair.
join a circus. Let's go join a circus.
Sound like
That's the last.
sound like you're on the Polar Express, bro. Like Jesus,
Right, it sounds like a fantasy.
for real.
That movie hits different when I watch it now.
Yeah, like did you think like that was how it was gonna be when you were out on the train?
No. To be honest, I don't know what the fuck I thought before I joined it, except for what I told you guys before about, what my vision was before I accepted that contract. I had an idea of what it was going to be like, but I don't even remember knowing that it was going to be in the arenas that it was going to be in, and I'm sure I did, but
Yeah, you're crazy. He's like, yeah, we performed at the United Center. I think there was like 5,000 people. I'm like, dude, there's 22,000 people at the United Center.
If
Okay?
it's fully booked.
Okay.
if it's fully booked.
Okay, it's probably not
I think-
5,000.
Yeah, I think we booked up Chicago shows, New York shows. We would book those up for sure. and we'd have like.
How does that feel? Like as an 18-year-old kid, you're going into this like arena, like, and you have a job to do basically.
Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking. There was a lot of lead up into doing our first show, our opening night, basically, because we had built the show, and so there was, it was just nonstop choreographic, learning choreography and trying to figure out what kind of choreography we can do, because we're all weirdo BMX guys that I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to learn to dance. Figure out what to do where I can be on my bike. That was kind of our attitude. So the choreographers had to work with us. So honestly, opening night was a little nerve-wracking, but it was almost like maybe getting out of boot camp a little bit, I guess. It was kind of like, let's just get the fuck out of here and get the show on the road. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're ready to get it going. So I remember it being nerve-wracking. Just on the basis of knowing that I'm going to have to do this like 8 times a week for the next year at least, it was like, I want to make sure I figure out a way to enjoy this and not be nervous or not hate parts of it or whatever of the actual doing the show. Because, our act was 3 minutes long. It's the last act of the show. We were in and out of the show throughout the other 2 hours, though, doing other random shit, wearing different costumes, dancing kind of here and there. So, but no, I had done one show before that, and this is the most people that I ever did a show for. It was at Lambeau Field, and it was I think it wasn't a Packers game, but they had a family game night at Lambeau Field, and I think they packed the field. There was 77,000 people. Wow. And we did like a 3-minute show for that, and that was like. I think I put blinders on. I think I had tunnel vision the whole time that happened. And I think that was 2 years before the circus. So, I had that experience, and then it was like when I got into the circus, it's like it's a wall of people. It's kind of all it looks like, And it probably took 2 weeks before it was like you almost don't. It looks like wallpaper. You know what I mean? Like, and the sound sounds like it's just pre-recorded.
It eventually gets to the point where you're not looking at faces; you're looking at sections of the crowd.
You just don't even notice, And like we all knew what we were doing with our act too. So it's like, we feel silly half the time being out there with the dancing and all that crap. But like again, it's for kids. Like that was really what we had kind of remembered. I remember us all telling, like, it's for kids. Let's remember this is for kids, because it makes you feel better about it when you're being silly, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm kind of a cool BMX guy. I'd like to do cool shit. But no, it didn't take very long, and it turned into work, just like any other work.
How many
quickly.
years did you keep this up for?
So 2015 and 2016 were the 2 full years that I toured.
And how many places did you go?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. Roughly, 18 to 20 different cities, or states. Probably 40 something. Yeah, because we only had a couple weeks off. We had maybe 3 weeks off, I think, the whole year. And that was
what?
Yeah, 2 of them were in December, if I'm getting my numbers right. And
Did you feel like a slave? Like, Jesus.
Not a little bit, and like we were in Brooklyn for 2 weeks straight in the middle of winter, and the train froze, and that arena is the Barclays Center is way low underground, so you have to basically use elevators or really inconvenient stairs to go outside. So for 2 weeks, most of us slept in our dressing rooms in that arena and didn't really get sunlight. Wow. Then it started to turn into this feels like I'm in fucking prison, and it's just never going to end. But no, honestly, I mean, the amount of traveling that we did was really what did it, right? And I mean, life is interesting when you're in a different place pretty much every week. You got to find out where the nearest stores are. What's the arena like? What's our week going to look like? How's our dressing room? Some of them are really shitty. They just haven't updated over the years, and there's no service, there's no Wi-Fi, and it's all the first world problems pop up a little bit.
You're speaking a different language, man. I've never heard this shit. Have you heard this?
Wow. No, this is wild. I'm trying to imagine myself in those shoes.
I'm trying to imagine it too.
So you said you did it for 2 years?
2 years, yeah, 2 years, and then the show actually closed in May of 2017. So even if I had stuck on, I would have shut down. I mean, they put a nix on it. And just this year, they came back. They have the
What was the circus called again?
Circus. It was Ringling Brothers, obviously. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. Circus Extreme is what the show was called.
And what year did they stop? It was like
2017.
2017?
Yeah.
I was born premature. And the doctor was telling my mom, like, your son's not going to survive. You know? And when I was born, they also thought I was going to, if I was survived, I had no arms and legs type shit. Like,
wow.
this is 95, right?
Yeah.
And when I was born, I was like in the newspaper. It was like a miracle baby, right? And I got a letter wishing me longevity from the president at the time, right? With a lifetime pass to, I think, the Ringling Circus. But what I'm getting at is my mom and dad never took me to the circus that I had the lifetime pass to. And we lost the fucking letter and we lost the lifetime pass. You know what I'm saying? But I can say I got it. And for the people who don't believe me, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. No, yeah, so our show ended, and, you know, they have Disney on Ice still. That's still going. 3 of the riders that I was in are actually doing Disney on Ice, and they're riding their bikes on ice. They've been doing it. They never actually
rubber on ice.
Rubber on ice, yeah. Kenny Short, shout out to Kenny Short. He figured out a way to basically stud BMX tires.
Is this the guy in Japan?
Yes, yeah. We talked to him.
Yeah, we talked.
You and I talked about that. Yeah.
Shout out to that guy. I mean, that's dangerous as fuck, man.
Kenny's the man. So he found a way, and he's an ice skater too. He's a hockey player, so he really wanted, I think, a good solid reason for them to get him on, so we could do some ice skating too. That's my theory. But yeah, he figured out a way. He presented it because we obviously had contact info for a couple of the executive guys that build those shows, and they liked Kenny, and yeah, so they actually never stopped touring. So maybe at some point.
So was it just like a dance basically, like choreography? Like you just have to like do the same thing every single event?
For the shows? Yeah. So we made the show. It took us a couple months, it's about 2 full months. Got everybody to know where they're going every single show, how we're going to ride our bikes and not hit anybody and get hurt. That's all the shit we had to figure out, Yeah. We got hurt a little bit trying to figure that shit out. It's a full production. We also had a full band, live band, every show that played. So, we had a fluidity, obviously, because certain acts, especially ours, if something goes wrong, the music doesn't line up perfectly, with everything. So, it's a live band. Fair amount of dancing. I mean, I was dating one of the dancers at the time, one of the Australian dancers.
Of course you were.
So we had Australians the first year. They all left. And then we had Brazilians the second year.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you, related to your relationship in the circus, what's that like? Like, I'm over here trying to picture myself as an 18-year-old kid trying to, like, be in the circus, whatever. But, like, what's it like fighting with your girlfriend on the train? Or what's it like having that support from the girlfriend that's in the same fucking crazy world as you? Like, what?
Yeah, it was a crazy, intense is a good word, I guess. It was an intense time, it felt like,
In the relationship.
And I mean life too, right?
Yeah.
There's just so much shit going on every week, and there's so much shit to do. Some cities you get to, there's a million things you want to go do. Those are the weeks that, like, we might argue about what we want to go do or whatever the case is. So
you do get free time. So you have free time? We
had free time, yeah. It was... the train runs, right? We did the train runs from city to city. I bought a car like 5 months into touring, which alleviated that. So instead of actually going on the train runs, I was just popping in my car, and then we had anywhere from 2 to 4 full days of nothing. Like, we just had to make sure we were there for the first rehearsal of the opening day at that next city. So we did a lot of camping, and we called those overlands, sightseeing, really whatever we wanted to do. And that was also one of the other things between the train run and then the overlands. Those are the 2 things that were really made that experience, phenomenal, because we're getting paid, so we actually have the money to go and do shit, and drive our car across the country. But it's like some of the times we can go 12 hours out of the way. We can go up to Canada, go up to Toronto, going from Illinois to New York or whatever. We can just shoot up there, and so there's a lot of that shit going on where it's kind of like, what do we want to do this weekend?
You're like living on the run. Like, did you? How many like pair of shoes did you ever close? Like, were you?
I imagine he didn't have a lot of clothes because he didn't have a lot of storage.
Yeah, we didn't have. I had a dresser that was actually my nightstand. It was one of the little cheap ones from Walmart. That actually fit in my room, which was fucking key, because otherwise I would have been living out of a little backpack or whatever. But yeah, man, it was. I had more room than other people. That's another thing I'm grateful for.
I have to ask you, like, can people like point you out like in the public? Like, if you're like at a gas station, could they say like, "Oh, dude, you're the guy who's in the circus"? Like,
with somebody with a keen eye that showed up to pre-show and chatted with me, yeah.
There's like 500 people in the circus.
Yeah,
right?
we had about 100 performers.
100 performers.
About 200 stage crew.
It's kind of hard to remember a performer in a circus. Like, there's so much going on, your mind can't keep up with it.
Exactly.
But how many people were on the train? 500?
No, I don't know how many were on the train. It was everybody except the people that had their RVs, basically.
Well, it was a whole society.
You're probably talking around 200, something like that.
I wanted to ask you, like, you're in a circus, right? So, like, what's some of the strangest weirdos that were in the circus? Like, what are some impressively strange people that you remember?
Yeah, there were a handful of people, obviously. So Feld's got concessions, employees that they hire for all the arenas. And they were kind of separated, and they had their own little part of the train. And there were a couple of those dudes that, unfortunately, two of the guys I'm thinking of right now have passed away in the last 2 years, which is very unfortunate. But I mean, they're decades into the circus, into traveling. So, like, you know, you're asking about probably more carny people, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. There really wasn't.
Or honestly, anything.
Anything,
that can answer the question.
There really wasn't any.
Experience.
Yeah, and the carny thing is funny because we got there and you know all the Australians are tagging hashtag carny life and all this shit. Our GM comes up one day and he goes, "We're not fucking carnies. You guys are performers.
Yeah.
We're professionals. You're all talented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Set the stage for everybody." But you know, talking to one of the guys his name was Nixon, and God only knows he was probably in the 70s. I think he was. I want to say 30 years or so, 40 years into living in the circus. So he didn't have a life, outside of that. He had family and shit, but talking to that, sitting down and smoking cigarettes, talking to that guy about what the fuck he's seen in the last 30 years or whatever, being on and off the train, part of all these different shows and living out of hotels and
one of those characters that always have a good story to tell.
That motherfucker is a book.
Yeah.
He is a human book, So there was a lot of those. It was really a lot of that. And honestly, we also, like, Americans, we were the minority, 100% the minority. It was mainly Ukrainians, a lot of Ukrainians, Romanians, Russians. So some of the older guys, like the older Ukrainian or older Russian guys, you get friendly with those guys and you start hearing some stories as well about where they're from, and obviously very different, from how I grew up or whatever. A lot of these guys were military, KGB military, whatever you want to call it, back in the 80s and 90s. There's a couple of those guys on there were like, that guy killed people, man. It's like, oh, interesting. All right. Like,
I could just imagine the culture shock he gets in that melting pot on the train.
Yeah.
So you start BMXing like in 8th grade, and then you get this job when you graduate high school to be in the Ringling Brothers, right? And you do it for 2 years, go to all these places. Did you get tired?
No, I didn't. I had the opportunity. We only had a year-long contract. I had the opportunity to, to leave, basically, once that second year rolled around. And my girlfriend at the time had none of the Australians had re-signed, as far as I know. One or two of them did, but she didn't. And so, I made the decision that I fell in love with that lifestyle. I think more than I had fallen in love with her. Which is a good way to put it. It took me a long time to reflect on that and figure out why I made the decisions I did. I was young, That's really what happened. Is I think I fell in love with that lifestyle a lot. And I'll be honest. This previous year, I still made a bit less than I made back then, as far as salary is concerned.
Wow.
So it's not like I was making $1 million, right? Because I'm not making $1 million right now, but it was adult wages for an 18-year-old, and I didn't have any bills, and that was also part of it. I had saved fucking $0 the first year because I didn't need to save money, and it was
you were just making it and blowing it.
Yeah, and my thoughts were like, all these people have been doing this for 30 fucking years. You know what I mean? Like the band guy, he's been here. He's got his own car set up. Like he's not going anywhere. He's got a house and a family. That he goes back to when he's not touring. And I'm like, I could save a lot of money doing what I'm doing currently and still enjoy, being able to travel and do all the things I want to do. A little bit of discipline, but I was eating healthy. I was cooking most of my meals. I just had fallen into a good spot where I'm like, I could exist like this, fucking happy for a long time. That was kind of my.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's so like just like so you can like do a backflip and all that stuff like it was easy. Like you never really had trouble with doing your performance.
Not at that point. No. Obviously, everybody's got to learn how to do that stuff, and there's trials and tribulations to learning. Obviously, we've got hurt a lot growing up riding. But at that point, getting to that point, I'd already done enough shows, so it wasn't like I was shitting my pants every time I'm out there in front of people. And then you have fun with it. There were times I knocked myself out in one of the shows, fucking around, trying something.
Yeah.
Not saying I shouldn't have tried it because it's a trick that I was capable of doing, but one time, right? You fuck it up.
Yeah.
So you go to 2017, right? And why did you leave?
Yeah, so I had it's a weird situation. I had a knee injury that had kind of happened in and out of the circus. And we had contract issues going on with some of the other guys, and one of them wasn't going to be able to come back. He wasn't going to be offered a contract. There wasn't a slot for him. So I was already thinking about bringing it up to my boss to maybe have the circus take care of my knee. My doctor was telling me doing shows is making it worse, and that I needed to fix it. I had a torn ACL.
How did you tear it?
Riding when I was younger, riding a contest, I partially tore it. It was extremely painful. It went away after like 2 weeks though, and I was young enough. I just didn't give a shit to follow up with why did my knee hurt that bad. Right. And then actually, during one of the breaks in the circus, I was riding at home, and I felt the rest of it snap, but I didn't feel any pain. So that's actually why I drove. Yeah, it was weird, but I can't describe what a ligament snapping feels like, but I felt it. I knew something was up.
With zero pain.
Zero pain.
Interesting.
So I went and got checked out, and then immediately basically got in my car after my appointment and drove straight to Miami. So I drove 24 hours straight by myself, got there. That was a mission. But I got there, and I go to sleep, and I'm asleep for like a fucking hour, and my doctor calls, and it's like, your shit's torn, you got to come back, blah, blah, blah. So I already had this plan in my head. They were like, all right, if I'm trying to make this a long-term thing, I think I'm going to have to listen to this guy. Obviously, he's a doctor. Get this taken care of. So I had talked to my boss and then the director of the show as well. Hey, he's saying it's getting worse. I think it'll be fine with the insurance and everything. Like, I got, you know what I mean? Like, it is making it worse. It's not like we're trying to lie. But I said, I also want to make sure that in the time that I'm gone, my spot isn't taken from me because it happened to a lot of other performers. And it's no one's fault when you get hurt. No one wants that. And the show has to go on, obviously, so you have to fill spots. So it's like, I get that, but if we're talking about 6 to 8 months, I kind of want my spot back. And so that was kind of the thing, is I was like, I'm going to have this other dude who can't stay here because there's no room, slide in. You can take my room, all this shit. I'll go get fixed, and we can figure out contracts next year because it's going to take almost a year for recovery. In that time, I basically went home and started fighting an insurance company that didn't want to cover anything. And then that's when they announced the show was ending. And then it was like, all right, well, I'm not, I guess I did my last show already. There's no chance.
So did the insurance company end up folding?
They would have if I would have maybe if I would have followed through in court. I had gotten, there was an event that happened that actually ended up making me go to the doctor because of my knee getting tweaked. I had partially torn my meniscus in one of the shows, and so that was kind of wrapped up in it as well. But the problem was that was in Michigan, and so I went through a Florida attorney because that's where Feld is based out of, and it didn't work like that. If it's workman's comp, the state you got injured in, that's the state you have to get an attorney in, and you got to go see a judge in that state. So I get all that going. My mom gets me an attorney and all this shit. And that guy's like, it's 2 years to see a judge, bro. Like, it's not like, he's like, we can do it, but he's like, you will get no compensation until we get it squared away. And I'm like, okay, so I'm presented with an opportunity, and a backwards opportunity to sit at home and do fucking nothing.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was the end of my circus career.
So like we were talking on the phone about the circus, and you told me some dark sides about the circus, and we're not going to throw shade at Ringling, but we are going to talk about the dark side, right? So you said most are like immigrants, right? Romanian, Brazilian, Serbian, all this stuff, and they're not treated as well as you are?
Well, interestingly enough, it was less of a hierarchy based on like what you're saying, right? Americans first, or it wasn't really like that. It was more. It felt like there was more of a hierarchy with what position you had, right? If you're a performer, if you're a stage person, I remember talking to people when we first got in there, and we're trying to learn from the people that have been there for long enough. Like, what is this? What the fuck can we expect when we start touring? And there was a vibe from some of like even just the stage crew people, right? They're not performing, that like we're put on a pedestal a little bit, because we have an act in the show. And it didn't really feel like that, but as far as the people that were, like I said, we were the minority, so nobody. And honestly, melting pot's an incredible way to put it, because that was really one of the most profound aspects of it, was the community aspect of it. We're all from different countries, we none of us speak, there's like 15 different languages or whatever going on.
There's so many people that have different morals and culture, beliefs in life, and when you guys are all just hanging out and seeing each other as equal, you learn from so many different people that believe in so many different things, what I'm saying? Like, that's a huge way to grow mentally.
Yeah, and it was think about that many people. We had a Mongolian troupe as well. And I was rather tight with them, if we want to put it that way. I loved them, dude.
He was the Mongol. He was with the Mongols.
Yeah, I learned a lot from them. Their culture is interesting.
Genghis Khan? It's Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's the percentage of their population that's supposedly descendant of Genghis Khan? Is it most of it, I think?
Yeah.
I think it's most of it.
Yeah, it's most of it.
Yeah. I had a buddy. I'll show you Manjak when we're done with this. I'll show you some pictures of Manjak. He was my Mongolian homie. That dude was a fucking superhero. I've never met a human that is a superhero. That dude was a superhero. That's funny. Hanging out with those people and seeing him switch from hanging out, drinking beers, smoking some joints with us, whatever he's doing, getting fucking loose. Manjak was crazy. He would get loose as fuck, dude. And then you see him at work the next day, bro, and like straight face. It's fucking game time. Like, those people don't fuck around. It really made me feel like I'm
time to play and this is time to work.
It really made like a little bit of reflection, being around just how disciplined they were. All the trampoline guys, the free running guys, like a lot of them. We're talking about people that are stretching every day, like they're working out constantly. They're on top of their shit, and we're rolling in. Dan's smoking joints before shows, like just stupid shit like that, where we're just kind of showing up and doing whatever we do. And it just seemed like we're the black sheep of this, and
Well, dude, like, that's fucking awesome. Like, your circus story, and that was probably just the tip of the iceberg. And I hope to have you back on and talk about the circus more. But there is one thing I do want to talk about. Like, you decided, okay, I'm gonna get out of the circus. You started working. You settled down. You got a wife. Shout out Paige. Right. Shout out to Paige. You got a wife. You settled down. And now you're focusing on like band and stuff. And I remember back then when we were kids, like, do a full circle, like back to when we were kids. I was in your house and you were playing guitar, and I was like, "So are you a guitarist?" You're like, "No, I'm a drummer." So why don't you like shout out your band and tell me how you guys came together?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, shout out to my wife, because I do have the best wife in the world. Every day feels like I'm the luckiest guy ever. You know what I mean?
Trying to get brownie points.
I'm not trying to get brownie points. Yeah, we don't even have that. We don't do that bullshit. I'm honest, right? I do. I have the best wife in the world. She's bummed she couldn't be here. She really wanted to see you.
Next time.
Yeah, next time we'll be back. But yeah, no, I actually had a band when I came back from the circus. I started a band with Max Aldred, if you remember him.
Yeah, he hated me.
Okay, well,
Oh, dude, bring Max in.
he
Let
had
them-
resting bitch face. Do you remember? Did you know Max?
The name is very familiar to me. I think I've seen
Yeah.
He
him
had,
supporting me.
did he have like Chinese eyes?
Kind of,
Is
yeah. They
that-
called him Goldstein. I think a lot of high school called him
Oh,
Gold.
yeah.
Sorry, Max, if no one called you Goldstein. It was just us. My bad.
Max, I love you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So I started a band playing guitar and singing for a little while. That was fun. And it's just being around a drum set. I had played a little bit when I was younger and wanted to pick it up.
Bro,
and-
this is one of the coolest friends I ever met in my life, Max. This motherfucker can pitch 90 miles per hour when he's 9. Okay, this motherfucker gets on a bike and starts doing backflips when he's 17.
I know.
He travels for
That's
2 years
crazy.
on a train with all types of different walks of life and kills it until the circus evaporates. And then he gets out and he's like, fuck it, let's rock out. Fucking playing fucking guitar and fucking drum setting and then he gets the best wife on earth.
You're living life to the max, bro. You're living fucking life to the max. And hopefully, like, shout out your band real quick. What's your band's name?
Yeah, so band is called Side Rail. It's a one word. We are actually in the studio for the second time. We don't have anything released yet. We've been slacking. We all have full-time jobs, and you know how it goes. I'm sure you can use your imaginations.
You've never had a full-time job. You've been killing it in very unorthodox
Oh, I've had a
ways.
full-time job for almost a decade now. Yeah. No, I'm working fucking tomorrow. I'm gonna go finish building the deck that I'm building. So
Yeah, you pulled up in the
What are you? A
construction van.
carpenter?
I am. Yeah. But no, the band's been going. It's been going awesome, man. Honestly, it's kind of the same thing. It's a good group of dudes. That's really what it's about. We all enjoy music. We want to write some shit that other people enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Same reason I'm sure most people, like they're making music. But we've had fun with that. We've done a little bit of traveling. We played a Minnesota show this year.
Yo, it sounds like you got your next episode already ready.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to ask, like, are you happy with how everything turned out? Are you happy you did everything you did?
Yeah, and it's honestly a good point it's a good point to ask that question because that's those thoughts have been floating around. It's like I said, it's almost been 10 years since I joined the circus, and it was a bit of a life-changing experience. But no, honestly, I am. I had issues with coming home and just the way that it ended, and me just ending up at home, no money again. Mm-hmm. After that experience, I was like, "Fuck!" Like that sucks. I have all these contacts, but like, what can I get on another show? It won't be like that. No, honestly, I'm lucky to have the boss. I work for a small company. I'm lucky to have the boss that I have. I've been with him for almost a decade now. Same thing. He's kept me around, kept me happy, and I feel like I have independence and freedom, and honestly, Paige and I are married for 2 years next month. We've been together 7 years in October. So
Holy fuck, man! I thought you got married like 2 years ago. I didn't know it was 7.
You did.
we got
You've been
married.
together for 7.
Together for 7 years.
Yeah. So you did get married 2 years ago?
Yeah, March 30th. Yeah. So
March 30th.
After
2
a
years
5-year
coming up.
run, he's like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, we
Bro,
weren't gonna do it either.
You're like one of the craziest guys that we've had on the podcast. Like, you're a fucking character, man, and I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg. And I appreciate you sharing the little you could about the circus. I mean, like, the choreography, the nationalities you had to, like, not deal with, but, like,
Navigate.
learn with. Like, navigate with. Like, there's probably different religions, too, right? Like, and, man, you've been living life to the max for sure. And you said you didn't regret anything you did, so that's good. No regrets, right?
No, I have. I will say I have one. I'm sure I have a lot if I think about it. There's one, and he's probably never going to listen to this, but there's something I did one time that is not me, right? Kind of like punching you in the face.
Yeah,
That's not me. That's not the kind of person I am.
Way to circle around. Spit it out. Let's get it.
Spit it out, yeah. Hammered one night arguing with my girlfriend on the train.
That's what I was trying to dig at.
I
earlier.
know one of our best friends. He was one of my best friends at the time too. He's sitting on the other side of the train yard, and we're all fucking like hammered, and he's just like, "Nick, you're a fucking asshole," and I'm like, "The fuck did you just say, Nate?" And so I get up and I'm like, it's not me, I'm not this kind of person. But alcohol will do it. So I fucking walk up to him and I get in his face. I'm like, the fuck did you just say
You
to
got
me,
the
Nate?
squad full of Mongols behind you.
Yeah,
with
right.
Their fucking sword ready to back you up.
Yeah. No, I headbutted. I'm a dick. I headbutted this motherfucker.
What
So,
the fuck?
because he said it. He was, he's so drunk. He's like, you're an asshole. And I fucked his nose up a little bit. None
What
of
happened?
us.
Is that when everyone like got up?
No,
and, like,
yeah, we all kind of just. I mean, that was it. I headbutted him, and I remember going in, probably told my girlfriend fuck off or something at the time.
He's like, yeah, I headbutted him, and next thing you know, I woke up and I had a well rest. I don't know how I went to sleep.
Kind of, dude. The next morning, Nate came out and he's like, my nose hurts. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I remember.
Oh,
So,
shit. You guys are awful.
that's my regret. I'm sorry for headbutting you, Nate.
Wow, of all things, that's your regret. That's what I mean, dude. You're fucking amazing episode. Thank you for going on, and thank you for reading my message, because we weren't that cool back then, but now it seems like we're cool as fuck, and I like that. I like that, and I really appreciate you supporting the podcast, listening, and if you ever want to put a guest on, like that guy on Disney on Ice, if he wants to be on, let us know. We're ready. Honestly, we need more people like you. Seriously,
I got
all types of people.
I got a small list. I'm sure we can get going. So no, man, it's been I'll make it quick. We're wrapping up here a little bit. It's been great, obviously, talking to you again. Because we weren't the best of friends. So high school went on. Like that little tiff we had or whatever, it wasn't a thing. I don't remember it being a thing. I have fond memories of playing football and shit with you, and going over to your house. And I remember your brother being a little shithead back then too, bothering you. I remember that. From the world of extreme sports, there are several people I know that are in similar situations to you, or lifelong injuries, and it's something that is part of extreme sports, and it's hard to fucking deal with, man. It is. I just want to thank you for messaging me whenever you did, or I did, whatever happened to where I'm here now today, from the last 15 years or whatever. It's been good, and I'd like to continue being part of it.
Definitely good, man.
Yeah.
Hey, look into that camera right there, and tell everybody you're living life.
Say your name.
You've been living life to the
Say you're
max.
living life to the max, and tell the people a message if you want.
Well, my name is Nick Johnson, and I was living life to the max. I'm still trying to live life to the max. My inspiration has been Max, and it will continue to be Max, because
You're making me cry, dude.
every day when I get up, especially since we've reconnected, man, you said it on one of the recent podcasts as well. Like, it's hard to fucking walk around and bitch about what, right? What the fuck are we bitching about? And so in a weird way, like that is really a big part of that inspiration for me. Because even like today, stressful fucking day at work, and I'm driving out here like it's fucking snowing. You know what I mean? Blah blah blah. What is there to bitch about? I get to go be on a podcast with Max, and what is Max doing? Living his best fucking life, living it to the max. And that's what this is about, man. So thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, it's been life to the max. Please like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, Life to the Max Podcast. And we're out. Peace.